Imagine a town that doesn't have Wi-Fi or cell phones. That might sound like it might be a pretty peaceful and quiet and simple place.
Journalist Stephen Kersey went to Green Bank, West Virginia, known as the quietest town in America, to see what it might say about the role of technology in our lives. And what he found is detailed in his book, The Quiet Zone, unraveling the mystery of a town suspended in silence. Good morning, Stephen. This is about so much more than no Wi-Fi and no electric. Has neo-Nazis, serial killers, the NSA. I mean, this sounds like a Netflix series. What the heck is going on in this town?
Yeah, when I was in Green Bank, I'm actually in the town right now. I'm just outside of it in a ghost town from a logging site called Cass. I often had the feeling of being in an episode of Twin Peaks or
Right.
Stranger Things.
Exactly.
Because of this strange confluence of like the supernatural and just like this otherworldliness of the place that I'm in.
It sounds like you're potentially drawn to the town in the first place because of the lack of cell phones and lack of Wi-Fi. But you found that there were people that were getting around that understood rule.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, most of the media spots about this place say that it's a town where cell phones are banned or Wi-Fi is outlawed. But I quickly found that almost everybody around the town has Wi-Fi, to the extent that there are more Wi-Fi hotspots in Green Bank than there are homes, if that's even possible. And many people do have smartphones. There's no cell service still in Green Bank, but there are pockets of it around the area, and people know how to like where they can go on that one road or that one little street corner where they can hold up their phone and stand on one foot and get a little bit of service.
So I think we need to take a step back here, because I'm seeing this giant satellite dish. So is this the reason this exists? Is it a social experiment? Is there some science thing going on? Is it, I understand the NSA has something going on there. What is driving all this?
Yeah. Back in the 1950s, the United States was investing heavily in this new science of radio astronomy. And a search was done on the entire eastern seaboard, the eastern United States, for the quietest suitable place to have these radio telescopes. Radio telescopes measure radio waves coming in from the cosmos. And just like you need to have an optical telescope in a very dark place where there's not a lot of light pollution, you need to put a radio telescope in a place that's very quiet, very radio quiet. And Green Bank, West Virginia, was determined to be one of the quietest places in the United States for having this very first National Radio Astronomy Observatory. Now, the scientists liked it here because it was quiet, but the U.S. military also liked the quiet because it would allow them to do secretive intelligence communications. And to this day, about 25 miles away from where I am, the NSA operates its own collection of about a half dozen radio antennas that are secretly swooping in millions of telephone calls and text messages and contact events every single hour. And that interception, that spy work, is only possible because of the Quiet Zone, which is administered here out of Green Bank, out of the Astronomy Observatory.
It's drawn so many eclectic different types of people from what I was reading, that, you know, from hippies to neo-Nazis, all different types of individuals. How do these different factions all get along in this small town?
Well, so the Quiet Zone actually encompasses a massive area. It's 13,000 square miles.
Wow, okay.
And I focus in on the county of Pocahontas County, which is entirely within that National Radio Quiet Zone. And in Pocahontas County is where you have both the radio astronomers here in Green Bank. Nearby, you have the NSA facility. But there's also, because it's so quiet here, there's been like a magnetizing force that's attracted people here over the decades, all seeking a piece of that quiet. Back to the Landers and hippies came here in large numbers in the 70s, actually increasing the population of the county by about 15%, which is notable because there's only about 8,000 people here in a Rhode Island-sized county. It's one of the most sparsely populated counties east of the Mississippi River. Then after the hippies and neo-Nazis came, after the hippies came the neo-Nazis, led by a man named William Pierce, one of the more notorious far-right leaders over the past half century. He wrote a book called The Turner Diaries, which has had a very nefarious influence on terrorist incidents around the world over the past 50 years. And he came here because he wanted to get away from it all and be left alone, essentially, by civil rights groups and law enforcement and other people who were badgering him. And he was based just south of where I am for quite a few years. His organization is still here. So more recently, there's a group of people who believe that they are physically harmed to the point of being put into the hospital or even death by Wi-Fi and cell service and even smartphones. And hundreds of these people, they have something called electromagnetic hypersensitivity. They've come here to Green Bank. They see the quiet zone as kind of their last refuge in a noisy world.
Wow. So let me ask you, do you find it refreshing, or are you just totally creeped out that you're always looking over your shoulder?
No, it's refreshing to be here because, like I said, even though there is some, some secretive or not so secretive Wi-Fi, and even though you can't have smartphones, they're not really banned here, there is still a sense of like being disconnected. There's no cell service. The internet is fairly slow for the most part. And so you are forced to take a step back from the online world that I find it hard to break free from when I'm back home at my house in Connecticut, where I'm just always online, always surrounded by these things. I should add that my original reason for coming here was I don't own a cell phone. I haven't owned a cell phone or a smartphone or anything for over a decade now. And increasingly in this world where cell service is almost everywhere except the quiet zone, and where everybody seems to be always holding a smartphone except here in the quiet zone, I felt like an outlier. And I came here to potentially find a place where I might fit in, and also a place that might have lessons for us for how to live a better life. So yeah, even though there's some creepy stuff happening in the surrounding woods, kind of like an episode of Twin Peaks, there is this feeling of peacefulness and of breaking away from the online world that you have when you're here.
Sounds like a fascinating book.
Wow.
Stephen Kersey, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
And the book is The Quiet Zone, Unraveling the Mystery of a Town Suspended in Silence. You can also follow Stephen on Twitter. Hey, Mike.